So now we're recording.
All right.
Are we too washed out?
No. Honestly, it's fine.
Okay. I just don't want to be overexposed on our first podcast.
Hi, and welcome to What the Phalange, the podcast where we watch every episode of Friends, discuss it, deconstruct it, and fan over it, one episode at a time.
My name is Quinn, pronouns zir or they, them.
And my name is Emily, pronouns she and her.
This week, we're recording ourselves on video, as well as this week we're talking about Season 1, Episode 14, the one with the candy hearts, aired February 9th, 1995, written by Bill Lawrence and directed by James Burrows.
In this episode, it's all about the exes. Chandler gets set up on a blind date with his ex, Janice. Ross goes out on a date and runs into his ex, Carol. And the girls set a fire in their house as they perform an ex-partner cleansing ritual. So let's get into it.
Okay, so
First thoughts.
First impressions. Okay, I feel like this kind of like, I don't know, I just am reflecting on this in the same way that we're like creating this podcast, because like they definitely knew more of what they were doing beforehand, but we didn't really know what we were doing, and we're like starting to like get into a little bit of a rhythm here. And I'm feeling like this is an episode where I find like all the episodes before this were a little bit clunky. And this is like the first episode where I'm like, smooth friends. You know, like they have some like, you know, grease in the cogs, and they know how to make it happen.
Yeah, interesting. I feel the same. I feel also like they don't resort to too much shitty humor to be funny in this one. Yeah. Which I find that, like, to me, it's always a good sign of a TV show if you can be funny without being shitty. Yeah. You know? And so I really like that they and also any show that has Janice, any episode that has Janice, I love. And any episode that has Susan and Carol, I love. And so all three of them are in this episode, which makes it like just a prime episode for me.
It's epic. It's so good.
And I find that you get a really good snippet into Ross. And, like, again, it's one of those things where in season 1, I just love Ross in season 1. And I hate that I love Ross, but I do.
Oh, yeah. This is such a good Ross episode. Also, I feel like Chandler, there's something about him that I just really like about him. Yeah, there's just a lot going on here.
There's just a lot going on, and it's good. Yeah. And the girls are like, definitely a story, but they're not like the most important story of what's going on. They're more kind of like the background comedic relief for the episode. And the story really revolves more around like Ross's storyline and Chandler's storyline.
Yeah.
Which I'm into.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so 3 things you want to talk about.
Okay, I pretty much have like one main thing. For the record, I have like not prepared for this episode in any real way at all, because it's our first time doing a filmed version of our podcast. So if you're listening just to the audio right now on whatever podcast directory you listen to us on, you can also hop on over to our YouTube channel and listen to us there as well and check out our faces.
That's very intense.
And
I haven't showered.
I've showered for this podcast.
Oh, wow. Awkward. Good thing they can't smell me.
So I haven't really like prepped in a lot of ways, but I think there's 2 main things that I want to talk about. One is the female orgasm.
Interesting.
And 2 is just how complicated like love and like sexuality is, and kind of like dig into like the Ross Carol dynamic a little bit there.
Yeah, I kind of just wrote that I want to talk about exes, which is like the whole theme for this episode. And I like specifically I wrote I want to talk about Valentine's Day and like this kind of weird pressure that comes with Valentine's Day, which like in a lot of ways I've felt, but in a lot of ways I really haven't felt. Like there's kind of been a back and forth between the two. I want to talk about Chandler and Janice, and I really want to dive into Chandler and Janice, because this is the 3rd episode now that we have Janice in it. It's so the last time she shows up in this season. She doesn't show up again until, well, spoiler alert, next season. But like, I want to talk a little bit about their dynamic and their relationship. And we had some great feedback from our audience with the polls. And so I think that it'd be cool to kind of talk about what other people brought up. And then lastly, I do want to talk about like the comfort of being around someone who's familiar when you know you shouldn't be with them.
Oh, interesting.
Which is like an interesting thing that comes up with like exes and being around exes and it bringing up comfortable feelings and things like that. So I want to talk about all of that.
Oh, so good.
All right.
So juicy.
So let's get into it. Cold open.
Oh my God, the egg scene.
I know, it's so good.
This is such a good cold open.
Mm-hmm. It's so awkward.
Yeah.
But like, I also would be super stoked if someone asked me out that way.
Like,
it's very creative.
It's like really, it's really cute. I love like the reach for, just like getting creative, any real reason to talk to her.
Yeah.
At the moment, like it's just like a half second of when he goes and like literally like hands her the egg.
You see the egg, yeah. And like literally we were trying to get a picture of it, so we kept having to go back and get a picture because it was like it's literally like a half second shot where you just see him like with the egg.
It's such a good expression on his face. And just like that look on Ross's face when he like feels awkward and is like really trying hard is just it's just priceless every time.
She's also like she's a cutie, like sitting there, like she like says hi to him. She knows who he is. They have had contact before. Like, I don't know. Dating, again, it's just that weird thing where dating is just so different. Like, there's just so many things. Like, I think we're jumping ahead a little bit, but when they go on their date and he asks her, like, what do you do? Like, I feel as though nowadays you would never go on a first date with someone and not even know what they do before you've walked in. To see, like,
I know. Well, first of all, you would have, like, Googled them. You would have
Googled them. You would have chatted a little bit maybe online first, or you would have gotten information from friends first. Like, it's just such a weird thing to not know what someone does before you date them. Like, what if they're a cop? You know, you gotta know these things.
You gotta know the worst case scenarios. But also, like, like on Tinder or like OkCupid, you definitely go onto there. You have, your occupation usually listed and a whole bunch of other stuff, your goals in life. Or like at least with Tinder, there's some like messages exchanged beforehand. And I mean, if the two people are actually interested in being in a relationship, then I feel like those things are going to obviously be exchanged.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I do find this creative. Like, I really like that he like hands the egg to her.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm returning your egg. And I really love that like Joey and Chandler are just like,
just rooting for him.
You're gonna do this, man. You're gonna do this. And I love the line where he's like, the things with Rachel isn't working out. Your ex-wife's a lesbian. I don't really think we need a third. It's just like, come on, man.
And I think it's really cute because it's like they know that it's not gonna be necessarily successful, but they also know that that's not really what it's about.
Yeah,
it's about like trying to push him out of his comfort zone, getting him to like support him emotionally to like move forward, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Which I think is great.
Yeah.
Also, like, definitely a good idea to kind of like push him out of the obsession of Rachel. Yeah, like,
totally.
Like, come on, dude, like, move forward.
We're over it.
If you're not going to pursue that, then pursue something else. Stop just obsessing. It gets weird and creepy.
Totally. If someone asked you out this way, would you say yes?
Probably, but also anytime I've been asked out in public by someone that I didn't know, No,
but they know each other. They live in the same building.
Right. Maybe that would help. But I've normally just like shut down and get really awkward, and I'm like, I gotta go.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's actually happened to me a couple times.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Okay. You want to go to the next scene?
Well, actually, we got to talk about our advertisement real quick.
2 seconds.
So, you guys, as you know, we have an affiliate link to Instacart, which is the perfect thing to purchase into your life at this point in time. Shop online for your groceries, get them delivered in as little as an hour. Yeah, same day delivery. What's really great is that when the person is shopping for your groceries and something that you ordered isn't there, they will text you and you get to choose what you want in replacement, which is ideal for people with really intense eating restrictions like our household.
Yeah. Also, I used Instacart this past week. I used it because first of all, it's only available it's not available in Quebec, so make sure you're not in Quebec. But I used it in Toronto, and I was actually ordering groceries for someone else. So I ordered groceries to be delivered to their house as like a thank you gift for letting us stay there. And it was super easy. Just like took like 3 clicks online. I found a grocery store near their place. It was like this cute Italian place. I ordered a bunch of stuff and it got delivered directly to their house within like a couple of hours. So like if ever you want to just like buy your friend groceries or like be just, I don't know, whatever. It's really fun and really nice and super easy to use. Like straightforward to the point.
If you purchase this subscription with the affiliate link that is going to be either in our show notes below and our YouTube video notes below, we are going to get a kickback. So you're going to be supporting our show, and it's not going to cost you anything extra.
Yeah.
We just get a little bit of a bonus for referring you guys over there.
So do it. Buy some groceries.
Okay,
right.
So moving on to the first scene.
Okay, I want to talk about something that happens really quickly before we go into like the meat of this scene.
Okay.
Phoebe walks in and she was like, oh, I talked to Roger, who we know from the past episode.
Yeah, was it the one just before?
Or 2 episodes ago? I don't know. Yeah, no, it was the one right before. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because it was the one with the boobies and he talks about the boobie on the cup. Right, okay.
Which caused a lot of turbulence between us and our relationship.
But anyways, and she talks about Roger and she's like, oh, like, I just want to date for Valentine's Day. I just want to, like, you know, go out with this person. And again, it comes back to that idea of, like, the comfort of, like, being with someone who you already know, who you, like, even if they're, like, medium at best, they're just, like, they're there, they're available, and you, like, want to be loved, want to be cared for. And so it's like that comfort that comes with dating someone that you already know, that you've already dated.
Yeah, you've already gone through that process, and so you're not like stuck like Ross dating someone for the first time.
Yeah, and you saw how awkward that was. Like, and I think that I find it interesting that we get this moment of like, well, I just want to date for Valentine's Day. Like, is that something that you've ever felt, that like need to have a date for Valentine's?
No, I've never really felt that way. I mean, no, I think I've always been really stoked when I've been alone on Valentine's Day. And also have like a lot of groups of friends who are poly, and Valentine's Day doesn't really work very well in the polyamorous community. Yeah. I mean, depending on where you sit, but like, and so a lot of the time we've had like a lot of like great like community love parties, you know?
Yeah.
Which are a lot more PG than it sounds.
That sounds true. I think that like when I was younger, like I felt that way. Like before Ilias, I never really had like a long-term good relationship.
Yeah, like committed,
long-term solid relationship. And so like I think that I always enjoyed the idea of Valentine's Day just for the idea of like having someone who was there and who could like be there for me. But like but it was like I wanted it, but also in theory I thought it was ridiculous, you know? So it was kind of that like, oh, Valentine's Day is like so stupid, but in my head I was like, but it would be nice, you know?
Right, yeah.
And then like when Ilias and I started dating, we had like, you know, his sister's a florist, so he got me flowers on like our first Valentine's Day together. But then after that we didn't really do anything and we didn't really care. So it was like,
right.
You know, maybe we've gone for dinner once, but it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
I don't really care that much anymore.
I definitely think, though, that 2 people have to be on the same page if you're in a long-term relationship.
It's a very heteronormy kind of holiday, too. Like, it's like...
Is it?
I don't know. I feel like the way that, like, most people advertise
Valentine's I mean, like just like any holiday is consumed with... like heteronormative nuclear love, you know?
But do you remember when we were kids, our parents used to take us out for like a family Valentine's Day?
Yeah, every Valentine's Day we'd go out as a family or do something as a family. And
like our parents wouldn't like leave us with a babysitter and go out just the 2 of them. They would like take us out, and it was like, well, because Valentine's Day is about love as a family.
Yeah, I thought that was really cute.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Oh, good times.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of Nora. Okay, so
Anyway, so moving on, they're sitting on the couch.
Joey makes the annoying comment
of, she's needy, she's vulnerable. I'm thinking, cha-ching.
God.
I love this moment here when Rachel's just like...
But he doesn't get it, and that bothers me so much.
It bothers me too, but the way she, throws it, and she just, lets her hand go, and it stays there, and she's,
as little effort.
Annoyed by you.
Yeah, I'm annoyed as little as effort as possible because you don't deserve my energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, something that's continuously normalized in this show, and it's, frustrating because, in the last episode... Was it the last? Yeah. The last episode, it's we just see how solid of a character and how much you fall in love with Joey for all of these different things. But then when it comes to people outside of, or women specifically outside of his friend group, he has zero respect for them. And that's not an okay thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the best way that this scene ends.
Oh yeah, they hug. And they still got the egg.
Yeah. Ross comes back from asking her. She says yes. Mm-hmm. And then Chandler gives him a really excited big hug, and you hear the giant crack.
Yeah.
Imagine having to wash that out of your suit pocket.
Oh, yeah, that's bad. But, yeah, and then Joey also says the line, "Look, you haven't been out with anyone since Janice," which is a little foreshadowy.
I know, that's so true. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so scene 2.
Scene 2, they're at dinner. Joey and Chandler are at dinner. Joey's date shows up, and first of all, babe.
What?
Who is this lady?
Walks in, what? Hair super, done, amazing dress.
Way too good for Joey. 100%.
Okay, I mean, I want to say yes, but at the same time, we're completely valuing her fully on, the way that she looks.
Yeah, but she every woman is bebetter than for Joey.
It's true. It's true. And it's just, the way that she, she knows... she's just, not gonna deal with any shit. She walks in, she's get this for me, I'm gonna go wash my hands.
I'm gonna go wash the calves off my hands.
I love the way she moves her hands.
Wiggles her fingers. So cute.
I'm I just wanna watch you, be yourself.
Yeah, you know? I wish we got, more of Lorraine.
I know, eh? She's so interesting.
So then she's whatever, a drink for Janice, and I just love that Chandler's Janice, because
and Joey's on it too. Normally he's always depicted as someone who doesn't get it right away.
And he's
and if anything, I think he gets it first. He's oh no, what have I done?
Yeah, and I also just I can imagine that feeling of Chandler being okay, how many Janices do I know? How many Janices exist in the world? How likely is it that this Janice is my Janice?
And then Janice walks in and she's so cute.
She's so cute.
I love what she's wearing.
My God.
Yeah. And she's just not super done up for this date. It kind of looks like she didn't even put in that much effort for this.
What? I don't think so.
No, I'm not saying that. Okay, Janice is always glammed up. Okay. No matter what.
Right.
But I don't find that she's particularly she looks a little bit more professional, especially when you put her next to Lorraine.
That's true.
Janice has much more of a professional look, and then Lorraine is just va-va-voom. Is that what you
Va-va-voom.
is that the technical term?
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? She has that low cut dress and anyway, it's great.
Yeah, no, it's great. And then we get this moment where so first of all, this moment where Jenna says, "Oh my God," is actually the first time in the series that she ever says it.
No.
Yes. Fun trivia fact.
But we've watched...
She's been there, but she hasn't said, "Oh my God."
No, I don't believe this.
Okay, well, I don't know if you disagree with fandom, but I trust fandom for, my life when it comes to Friends. So, yeah.
No, she's definitely said, "Oh my God," in other episodes. 100%. Possibly Janice says, "Oh my God," catchphrase for the first time. I don't know if it's just... I feel like she said, "Oh my God," before, but... Hey, you know what? Let's just put this to rest, and we will release something on our Instagram about it.
Whatever. Okay, so anyways.
Whatever.
Chandler and Joey are now in the bathroom. Chandler's having a minor meltdown.
He's banging his head against the wall.
It's so good. And Joey says, "Calm down." Chandler gets this epic line where he's like, calm down. You've set me up with a woman I've dumped twice in the last 5 months. Like, that is so awkward. I feel so bad for Chandler. Like, I feel more bad for Janice, but I feel so bad for Chandler. Like, just, like, that must be so awkward. We've seen him break up with her twice, and both times were so cringy. And then now we've got, like, this third moment, and his facial expressions throughout the whole episode, Chandler's facial expressions are just so good. Like, when it comes to Janice, he's hilarious.
And, okay, I find this a really interesting contrast, because I'm about to say that I think Joey and Lorraine are two horrible friends. That they're going to be like...
Totally!
That they're like, we're just going to go through with this, even though we have our best friends with us, and we're just going to put them through this, even though we've supported them through all the horribleness of their relationship breakups. And also ditch them together at the table. But there's a part of me that's like, why didn't they both just leave? Like, in this scene, or in this situation, Chandler and Janice are much better friends than Joey and Lorraine. Like... For them to actually stay and sit through this as a favor to their friends.
Yeah, and you see that, like, okay, we're skipping a scene here, but let's do it anyways. Like, when Lorraine and Joey, you see the next scene where they're, like, eating the breadstick together, like, Lady and the Tramp style. Like, that is so obnoxious. I would be so annoyed if I was on that date. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And, like, I honestly just, they're just terrible friends here. They're just so rude. Like, I would be so pissed if that happened to me.
Do you think that when Joey's is trying to pee in the bathroom and Chandler sneaks up behind him and starts yelling at him like an army sergeant, do you think it's, like, a little valid considering the situation?
Totally. Yeah, totally. And also, little spoiler alert, this is the first time of, not just the only time in this show where you notice that Joey can't pee when he's nervous.
Does this happen more than once?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
The one with the jellyfish.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, so we're going to hop over to Monica's apartment now, scene 4. And so they're sitting around having a conversation.
Yeah,
reflecting on their past partners.
Terrible partners.
Yes. Monica's complaint.
Yeah.
Do you want to...
It's better than, what was his name? Roger? No, not Roger, or whatever. The I win guy.
I win! I win! I never won once.
Yeah, I went out with a guy for 2 months. I never got to win once or whatever.
So, out of curiosity, what did our polls say when it came to that answer?
I put, have you ever dated someone who never lets you win? Let's talk about what that means.
By the way, you guys, this week Emily and I switched positions. Normally, I am controlling all of the social media stuff, and Emily is doing post... production stuff and editing, and this week we're swapping. So
yeah, different vibe maybe.
Yeah.
So the question was, have you ever dated someone who never let you win? In quotes. 50% said yes, 50% said no. So let's talk a little bit about what it means to never let you win.
Did we not ask the question of, like, what do people think?
No.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, I wanted to leave it up to the imagination. Yeah.
So, okay, we had a bit of a discussion about this, and I said that what I feel is being implied by Monica here is that she never had an orgasm anytime they had sex, and he would finish every time saying,
I win. Yeah. My argument is that she was just making, like, a silly joke, and that she was, maybe I'm just, my argument is that I'm more naive, but, like, I just think that she's just being like, he's just so ridiculous saying I win every time, and she's like, I never got to win once, like, kind of as this, like, ridiculous, like, what he's saying is so ridiculous, and she's making a joke about it. That's what I thought it was about.
Right. I think the first time you watched this episode, you were too young to get it, and then you just held on to that.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
I really don't think... I really feel like it's an implication around sex and orgasms.
Right.
And, okay, I guess the reason that I wanted to bring this up is because I feel like this is a very typical thing that's, like, very normalized in society, right? Where it's, like, when you talk about sex, like, the default that you're thinking of is two cis hetero people, one male, one female, having sex, and... sex is defined by the male orgasm.
That's true.
And very often in hetero dynamics that, like, the woman doesn't orgasm.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find that this is like an interesting little like, I guess like huzzah over to it a little bit. Anyway,
Yeah, I can see that. So, yeah. In that case, like, are 50% of the people saying they've dated someone who never let them win in that sense?
I'm gonna assume yes.
That shit just doesn't happen in relationships in which there's no penis.
That's true. I mean, not always. Let's like not like put a blanket statement over everything. But there are stats out there that sort of say that it is a lot less common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Anywho, I don't think we need to hold on to this very much longer.
Nope.
Oh, but I do want to bring up that, and you actually pointed this out originally, Abby versus Bonnie.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain?
Yes. Okay, so Monica says, or Phoebe says, that's her name. Phoebe says, you know my friend who's bald? Like, or whatever. And then she's referring to my friend Abby who's bald. But then later on in season 3, Phoebe also has a friend, Bonnie, who's bald. So they're not the same person.
And who actually comes on.
Who comes onto the show.
Yeah. I always thought that it was like...
the same person.
I'm so bad with names, right?
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh yeah, that's the person down the line that comes and like features in a few episodes. And...
yeah, totally. I also just think it's so funny how like... the girls make such a big deal about this woman being bald. Like, you have a friend who's voluntarily bald. Like, and like, honestly, you step foot into like a queer community once and you've seen like someone who's bald. Like, it's just it's honestly chill. Like,
also all the awesome like films that have come out in the past couple of years of like completely shaved femme folk. Like, oh my god, it's gonna escape me. What's the one in like the dystopian one that was like Mad Max?
Yeah.
Right? Mad Max was one. You know, there's just like been all...
she had like a little bit of hair. She wasn't like...
it was buzzed though.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't have to use a razor every time, you know?
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. No, but anyways, and then I also just find that it's very typical Phoebe that she doesn't bat an eyelash at that. She's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend who's voluntarily bald.
Phoebe's way ahead of her time.
Yeah, Phoebe's just great. Ugh. Anyways. And so they decide they're going to have a ritual ex-partner ceremony, whatever it is.
Also, imagine, like, what a different episode it would be if they went down the second option line of dancing around naked.
With sticks. Okay, so we're back at the restaurant with Joey and Chandler. And again, this is the scene where they're, like, Joey and Lorraine are eating their breadstick together.
Rude.
Okay, and... it brings up an interesting question that comes up multiple times in this show, but they don't actually say it. And it's, can you ditch a friend for a chance for sex?
Oh.
But like, can you ditch a friend for like a romantic relationship?
Okay, first of all.
Depends.
With Joey, it's never a romantic relationship.
That's true.
And... I think that for Joey, when it comes to sex, he kind of becomes a bit of a shitty person.
Always, yeah.
And a bit of a shitty person. He becomes a very shitty person. Trying to take advantage of women and manipulate women. He's just like all in for it. And so in Joey's situation, fuck you. No.
But I do think that this actually is very different in that I feel as though she held more cards in this scenario than he did. Like, she was very much in control of this situation.
Right.
Which I find
I'm not saying, but I just mean, like, when you look at the whole of him, does he have the right in this one situation because, like, this time that he doesn't hold all the cards? Like...
No, totally, I agree. But just looking at the two of them, like, usually Joey says, like, some smooth line, and the girls are, like, they show that the girls are, like, oh my god, Joey.
Right.
But, like... I find in this episode, like, she's definitely the one in charge.
Yeah.
Like, she is, like, getting that chocolate pudding or whatever it is that she's getting to slather all over him. Like, she's, like, taking control of that. And, like...
Joey's definitely met his match there, right?
Yeah, and I found that was, like, that was an interesting juxtaposition because usually he's not like that. Mm-hmm. Where his dates are not like that, I guess.
Yeah.
So I like that. But then, anyways... so he does ditch his friend, which in this case is really not valid. Like, I think
it's so not valid, but at the same time, when like it pans over and Lorraine is ordering 3 chocolate mousses to go.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Like, for me, even if it was, like, just cut out the slathering. Like, just eating 3 chocolate mousses at home, I'm into it. I kind of feel like I would be like, okay, bye.
Totally, yeah, for sure. But I think that in this case where they head out, it's just not valid. Like, they just ditch their 2 friends who, like, clearly hate each other, clearly are in this awkward position. But I do love the revenge that Janice and Chandler take, which is like, Joey's a stupid man who left me. It's critical. Get a bottle of your, like, most expensive champagne. Make that 2.
Okay, here's my dirt with this, though.
Okay.
Is that Chandler literally is financially supporting Joey. And then Chandler is the one spending Joey's money, which he should know that kind of he's just going to be the one paying that.
Have we seen Chandler financially supporting Joey yet? I don't know if we've seen that yet. There's definitely a theme that comes up later throughout the show, but I don't really.
But maybe
see
at this
that,
point,
so...
it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as someone who has seen all of the seasons, I know for a fact that Chandler is going to be indirectly paying for everything that he buys.
That's true. Yeah.
But anyway, for the sake of this story, it is hilarious.
Yeah,
it is
great.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Also, do you think it's valid, though?
Yeah. I think it's valid. Like, okay, if they bought, like, a big screen TV, like he says, no.
Well, they're buying, like, the most expensive stuff at a really nice place.
Yeah, but I would be, like, I'm sorry. I would be so fucking pissed if Joey did what he did.
I guess, like, in my mind, why did they stay together?
Yeah, they should have
just why didn't they just leave?
Right.
Unless it was, like, before the food even came, and so they were waiting for the food.
I feel like Chandler is taking revenge over, like, multiple times of similar things like this happening. Like, not, like, with the Janice scenario, but I feel like the way Chandler is, like, mad at Joey, you can tell, like, Joey, this isn't the first time that Joey has, like, ditched him or, like, done something rude in order for him to be able to go somewhere and have sex.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is,
go
like...
somewhere
go somewhere and have sex.
I guess, but also this really ties into, like, this storyline later on with Janice and her being like, you love me. Because, like, he could have gotten up and left.
That's true.
Like, they both could have gotten up and left. He could have been like, let's order this all to go and get the fuck out of here and not have to be around each other anymore. But he didn't. He turned it into, like, this really fun little party between the 2 of them and then invited her into his bed.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But it is interesting, too, because it's, like, again, it's that familiarity. Because you know her, you feel comfortable with her, and, like, well, comfortable. And I just wonder if it's, like...
Right, yeah.
Like, did he do this just because, like, he was like, oh, this will be fun. Might as well just hang... Like, it's better than being alone.
Right.
You know? Which I think is, like, a lot of the reason why people get back together with exes. Is, like... Or even people stay in relationships that they don't want to be in. It's, like, it's better than being alone. Them? Mm-hmm. So I can imagine that that's what Chandler's doing here, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
and also, like, out of jealousy that Joey took off and was going to be with someone, and so... Yeah. Anyway.
Totally. Okay, so cut to
Chandler's bed. They wake up together.
I love this scene, though, where, like, you see the 2 hands on his chest, and then you don't realize right away that one of the hands is Janice.
Right. Yeah,
and
that's
then, like,
a really good...
Yeah, it's really, like, well done. But
like, Friends uses that panning out as, like, it's, like, a very much a tool to really sort of, like, demonstrate what's happening. Yeah. You know, it's, like, to, like, narrow in on something and then open up the scene to, like, give...
Yeah, more context. Yeah, for sure.
And we'll see that later on. I'm not sure if you see it in the Netflix one, but, like, at the end when the girls are talking around to, like, the firemen, they start off really closely panned into the fire, like, the light that's, like, up on the ceiling that's all scorched from the fire, and then they pan out to, like, show...
Right. Yeah. But it's interesting because there's such different, like, filming styles that, like, go with the eras, right? Yeah. And, like a thing that used to be in older films, like the 60s and 70s, was, like, just really long shots. So, like, really long scenes.
Right.
Where it's, like, the same shot and you see a conversation and it's, like, a 5 to 7 minute scene. Whereas, like, nowadays... You don't really see scenes that are, like, 5 to 7 minutes long, unless, like,
they're really trying to make a point of something. So Friends was super groundbreaking at its time, right? Because they at the time, sitcoms were always a very bland backdrop so that the characters could really stand out, because the lighting on set comes from all these different angles, so it's hard to get the characters to be specifically focused in on and stand out.
Right.
Because the cameras have to come from all these different angles. But what Friends did that was completely groundbreaking is that they made the set all look really busy and really like real lifey with lots of colors. And that's where like the purple door and the purple room is like so different. You know, they didn't even have closed cupboards, right? Like Monica's cupboards are all open, so you see all the different details that are on it. And they're continuously changing it up. Like for a long time at one point, Joey and Chandler have like 2 microwaves. And
I never noticed that.
But it's interesting because the designer for the show was actually not a set designer or clothing designer. She was a fine arts artist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I feel like she probably brought a lot in that way as well.
That's super interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So then they're in the hallway. Janice is leaving, and we get this great line where she's like...
This is a great scene.
This is just such a great scene on so many levels, and the DVD version is longer and even better. But I love this moment. Like, favorite line, and it's only my favorite line because of the way Monica delivers it, where she, like, goes out to get the paper, and she's like, oh, Chandler, sorry. Yeah. And then she goes, oh, Chandler, sorry.
I gotta say, this is, like, probably the 3rd or 4th time now that I'm sort of, like... Monica has a really good way of like just delivering this line that could be so normal, but then it's just like that it just resonates with you so well.
So well done.
Great scene.
And then Rachel runs out too because Monica calls her into the hallway, and then we get this like epic outfit from Rachel. I know, right? By the way, like so.
I just woke up.
Like, oh my god, just
whatever.
I woke up like this, whatever. Like, she's just so perfect. Which is like she won the 3rd best outfit.
Oh yeah,
which makes sense. I feel like her pajamas win a lot of our awards. But whatever.
I need to upgrade my pajamas.
In the DVD version, they have this funny moment where Janice takes the phone call to talk to Ross, and then and you could see the photo of it on our stories. Maybe I'll add it to the highlights. But you see this moment where like Joey, Monica, and Rachel all turn to Chandler, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And it's so good. I love it. But I asked the question, if you've ever gotten back together in X, were your friends annoyed / upset with you because of it? And 75% of our audience said yes.
Obviously.
So,
because everyone went through the process of supporting you and like in the breakup probably advised you not to get back together, and then...
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. Mm-hmm. There's nothing really else to milk out of that scene. It's just such a good one.
But then... Oh, no, we get Joey's best outfit, which he won.
He won best outfit?
He won best
outfit?
Coat? This coat and his, like, white shirt and his little scarf. He's looking so sleek.
Wow. Go Joey.
He won. I think this is the first time Joey's won a best outfit.
I don't know.
But he looks great. I really love it.
So... Then we switch over. So I'm assuming that they wake up and it is Valentine's Day.
Yeah, today's Valentine's Day now. Mm-hmm.
And so then it swaps over to the evening, and Ross is on his first date. Okay, and I just have to say that watching this date for like, the 2nd time today, because we only watched the episode twice this time. I mean, it was cringy, but then I just had this flash of being like, this is what it's going to be like for me after COVID. Like, this is what I'm going to be like.
Oh my god.
It's like just not know how to be a human in front of other humans.
But so he says this line about like dog years, and he's like, you know, he's like talking about a flight, like clearly he's like rehearsed this joke. Like he's just like, and then like I find that they do such a good job of like showing this like forced moment where he's like, she's like, oh, hi.
Yeah, she's like, that's funny. Like,
that's funny.
Being encouraging. Yeah. Can't actually laugh at it, though.
Oh, my God. And then we get beautiful, beautiful Susan and Carol.
Oh, my God. This episode is so good. There's so many good people in it.
Yeah, and Carol is wearing, like, velvet again. They say this line where he's like, Ross says, oh, that's my ex-wife and her close personal friend.
Oh my god.
And then Kristen says, you mean they're lovers? And, like, that's such a 90s thing
I
to
know.
call, like a lesbian couple lovers.
I'm so glad we've moved away from the lovers and into the partners.
Like, fine if you identify as, like, someone's lover, whatever, but, like...
It's just a really intense thing to say.
And it's only used for women, and that's what bothers me, is that,
That's
like,
true,
it's another way in which they, like, we've sexualized lesbian relationships. Like, you don't call...
Oh, interesting.
Men don't really say, like, gay men don't say their lover. They say partner.
In a dangerous time.
I don't know this one.
No?
No.
Okay, I'm going to look it up after, because I obviously don't know anything else besides that one line.
Classic Quinn. But anyways, I just feel like it's such a way to minimize, like, a queer relationship, to, like, boil it down to, like, being lovers.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds icky.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm...
Lesbian lovers. Like, what are, like, this isn't
I'm not
porn.
on team lovers.
Like, yeah, no.
But also, the execution of this scene is so perfect. Yeah. It's just, like Ross's awkwardness around the situation in a nutshell. How he, like, kind of explains it. She's super chill about it. You know, like, so they're lovers?
I don't know if she's super chill about it.
Really? I feel like she's not really, like, I think she's more like, you're being weird about this?
Okay, yes. Okay, I think, like, she's super chill about the fact that they're, like, queer. I don't think she's super chill about the fact that, like, his ex-wife is pregnant and he didn't tell her that.
Right. But yeah, and that's the part that I think is hilarious, when she, like, stands up and is like, oh, right, and she's pregnant. Like, not even, like, a little pregnant. It's like,
yeah, no,
she's, like, about pregnant. To give birth.
Yeah, oh my god. And so I asked the question, have you ever run into an ex while you were on a date? And 87% said yes. That's a lot of people who've run into exes while on dates.
Well, to be fair, people have gone on a lot of dates, probably, like, more dates than they have exes. Like, also, we have a pretty big following in Peterborough, and Peterborough's just really small.
Sure.
So
I guess, like,
love you, Peterborough.
I guess you would run into, like, I guess if you go to the same bars a lot or something. Mm-hmm. Monica's apartment. They're burning their ex's things. Have you done this?
Have I burnt people's things? No, I haven't, because I'm a very, very nostalgic person and, like, very sentimental.
You also are a bit of a hoarder.
Okay. I think it's not okay to actually use that word, because it's, like, an actual thing, right? Okay. Just, yeah.
You really enjoy keeping items.
I think pack rat might be.
Sure. You really have a hard time letting go of items.
Yes, I have such a hard time letting go of items. I am super sentimental. Mm-hmm. I also, like, personify every single object and believe that it has a life to it, and I want to take care of everything.
FYI, Quinn wants to live in a van by the end of the year. How that's going to happen, we have no idea. He's going to have a big storage container somewhere.
I have downsized a lot of my things. Okay. But I just haven't, and I haven't, like, let alone burn anything of someone's. Although I feel like burning can be very cathartic.
Yeah, I've, like, not burned things of someone, but I've, like, definitely written letters to people and then burnt those letters that I wanted to send to them. Right. I feel like I've probably burnt photos of someone. I'm thinking of someone in particular.
Oh. I also, in this moment, just feel like Janice should definitely be there for this little bonfire. And, like, throw in Chandler's heads that she cut out of all the pictures.
Oh, that'd be so great.
So here's the thing. I find, like, this concept of, like, cutting someone out of pictures.
Have you done that?
No.
Oh, wow.
Have you?
I, like, did that when I was, like, in grade 6 and, like, was mad at friends. Like, burn book style from Mean Girls. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I found out that people very often, after a breakup, they'll go back through their Instagram and delete all the photos of that person out of their feed. And
I can imagine doing that if, like, the person was, like, really abusive and you feel like you really need to get them out of, like, any form of in your life. But, like, if you just, like, broke up with them and, like, you just broke up, like, to me it feels, like, really petty to do that.
Yeah. Okay, so apparently Susan isn't a doctor.
Okay, wait, we're missing something.
Oh, sorry.
We're missing the moment that they throw all this stuff into. They actually, like, because they do throw all these things in, and then Rachel throws Paolo's alcohol, which to me, I'm like, Rachel, come on.
Yeah, I'm like, why didn't she? Anyway, whatever. I'm not gonna nitpick on her.
She didn't think about this. She didn't think about the whole, and then, like, also,
it kind of bothered
they're getting drunk and they're like burning shit. Why don't you just drink it?
Like, it's true. There's just part of me that is disappointed that they made this her character. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like they just didn't give her enough credit. But again,
that would have been a Phoebe thing,
right? It also, yeah, it totally would have been a Phoebe thing, and also
no, because Phoebe is like street smart.
That's true.
Yeah.
I just also think that this is maybe, I don't know. Actually, Rachel can do some things without thinking it through.
Yeah.
And also, it's season 1. She's still very naive.
Yeah. She grows. We love her growth.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in Central Perk.
And Chandler needs to dump Janice.
And
And
again.
Joey is so intense about the need to dump Janice. He's so good. Yeah.
If you don't do it, I will. I love the line from Chandler, though, where he's like, he's like, how do I break up with her on Valentine's Day? And Joey's like, I don't know, you did it on New Year. He's like, oh man, in my next life, I'm going back as a toilet brush.
Yes, you are, Chandler.
Good. Oh my god, it's so good. At least, like, he recognizes that he's a shitty person.
Yeah. Like,
he has a lot of self-awareness around his shittiness in a way that, like, Joey and Ross don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting because I am also right now watching season 9 on my own time. And he grows so much as a person. And, like, right now he's really just this almost, like, one-dimensional kind of, like,
pathetic mess.
And it's a great place to start because he grows so much over the seasons. Yeah.
And then, I just wrote poor Janice. Because, honestly, Chandler just needs to get his shit together. Like, it's not fair that she always has to be in this place where she's always having to be the one who has to, like, deal with Chandler who can't figure himself out. But, like, also she needs to run away from Chandler real fast.
Yeah, but we've all had a Chandler. You know?
Interesting.
Or like, more than one.
Right, okay. Sure. Yeah. That's true. Okay,
should we just finish off the Chandler Janice storyline?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So, she finally gets there and she's very intense.
Yeah.
But
she also has this killer outfit.
Yes. Killer outfit. I love every single one of Janice's outfits and her hair every time.
I wouldn't wear most of them.
No, definitely not.
Like any of them. But I love them. Yeah, this red coat with, like, the leopard fur print hood or whatever's going on there. It's great.
So good.
Yeah.
And also, how did she get custom-made candy hearts on Valentine's Day that quickly? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I didn't even think about that.
She's probably hooked up. Like, she has some inside.
Oh, my God. Or she's made them in the past for Chandler because she made them, like, at New Year's when she thought they were going to be together. No, but she cut all his heads out. She would have broken up all the candy hearts.
Possibly.
Yeah, but within a span of, like, 3 hours or, like, 4 hours, she gets, like, custom-made candy hearts.
Yeah.
That's really intense. Is there, like, a place you could go in New York City to get custom-made candy hearts same day? Like, yo, look that up.
In the 90s.
Yeah, I know, really. You can't even order it online.
No Amazon.
Man.
So, wait, what was I going to say? Right. The way that this happens, where Chandler's like, there's no new way to say this.
God, so good.
I love what Janice says here.
That's fine.
The look on her face, she's like, that's fine.
Yeah. She's so sure of herself. I really love Janice. Like, and we've talked about this in the past, but I really like that, like, Janice is very aware of the personality that she has. She's very aware of, like, who she is. And she's, like, not very apologetic about it. And
yeah, and if anything, she's, like, kind of... like is like, you guys don't get it and that's your problem.
Yeah.
You know?
She also like, she has a little bit of lack of self-awareness about how people perceive her though.
Yeah, that's true.
And so like she definitely thinks she's like, I definitely think that she needs to wake up and smell the roses a little bit when it comes to like, clearly Chandler is trying to break up with you. Like multiple times.
But what she says in this scene is so on point. Yeah. Especially with what we just talked about and like what happened in the restaurant. He could have left. Yeah. He could have not invited her into his bed. Yeah. And the fact that this is the third time that this happens. Yeah. It's like what she really has a lot of like evidence here to be like sure of herself in this moment of being like, fine. I know this isn't the end. I know that you love me, but like this is
you want me. You need me.
You can't live without me.
And
Janice.
You know it.
Janice.
And you know it. You just don't know you know it.
And it's so true.
Such a good exit.
And it's just like it loops back around to like the first breakup that they had where she's like, although it might be only in the DVD version, where she's like, she basically comes across being like, this is a you thing. Like, this is like your issues with commitment. It's not about me or the relationship. And it's like kind of loops back around to that here where she's like, this, like, we're just going to go through this again. I'm not going to get upset about it this time. Yeah. Like, come find me.
Time for you to grow.
Come find me when you're ready to be in a relationship with me. Because I know that you want to be in a relationship with me.
Yeah, totally. And and I just find that the way she exits here, like she like, you just don't know you know it. And then she gives him like this huge passionate kiss and just like walks away. See ya. And just like literally says see ya and walks away. And like Chandler's like taken by it, right? He's like, oh damn, like she's right, you know? But I think that like, so I wanted to bring up one of our listeners messaged us and was like, so I asked the question, I said, do you think that in this moment Chandler really loves Janice and he just doesn't know he loves her? And 38% of people said yes, 62% said no. And one of our listeners brought up the fact that they were like, actually, like, Chandler doesn't love her here. Wait, I want to pull up exactly what our listener said. They wrote, Chandler is just an insecure turd and is stringing poor, amazing Janice along. And it's true. Like, he doesn't know what he wants. And he's like, he's taking advantage of her vulnerability and her love for him. And so I see both sides because in a lot of ways I'm like, actually, no, I think that he does love her and he's just not able to commit. And he doesn't really know what love is. Like, I don't think Chandler knows what love is right now.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess, okay, I think that love is a very loose term. Mm-hmm. I do think that there's something about Janice that calls to him.
Like a fog.
Like a fog. You know, and even if there's some sort of like familiarity behind it, and it's like, or even if like, I don't know. I just think that Janice has a point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But okay. You know what? Whatever. We can't. Yeah.
Anyways, and she walks away. She like drops the mic and like walks away as wonderfully as she is. And anyways.
So it swings back to Ross and where are
Kristen.
We at? Kristen.
Susan gets a page. She's not a doctor.
Yes, okay, that's what I'm going to say. I forever thought that because of this scene, I thought that Susan was a doctor. And Emily corrected me.
No. She's like a commercial director or something. She's involved in advertising for sure. And in the DVD... said, I thought they could do the spot without me.
Right. But in the DVD, they talk about like doing...
a commercial for maxi pads. And
right.
She's like, the maxi pads one was so easy. I thought the mini pads would be that much easier or something.
And then she leaving Carol alone. Which, like, I'm sorry. If you're not a doctor, why are you leaving your partner alone on Valentine's Day to eat?
Well, clearly she's like, was on call for something.
Right. I guess... I don't know.
Like, I feel like that must happen to a lot of people who are on call for a lot of their work, right? Like, you make plans even though you're on call, knowing full well that you could have to leave.
Right. I don't know. It's, I find it a hard one to like...
Don't shit on Susan, okay? I do feel it's weird that they're, like, filming something at, like, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Like, what do they
At
need
date
to do?
time?
Like, but like, how often do people like film commercials at 7 p.m.? Is that a thing? I don't know. I'm not in the industry.
I don't know. Yeah.
If you are involved in the commercial or filming industry, let us know. Do you film commercials at 7 p.m.?
Yeah.
If you were on a date with someone and their ex showed up at the restaurant and then your date then invited their ex to come eat with you.
Okay, I think it's not just any ex though. This is an ex that is pregnant with this person's child. I think that's very different. Like you have to, like it's not, I don't know. First of all, I actually think like I would actually have more respect for the person either way because it shows that this person is very caring. You know, like
I guess, but like I feel as though it depends. Like this is the first date. This is like the first time she's even hearing that his partner is pregnant. Like she didn't even know what she was signing up for when she came on this date. Like she just like got an egg, you know? Like,
yeah, well you don't usually ask someone out and it's like would you like to go out with me? But just so you know, I have an ex-partner who's pregnant with my child. Like usually you don't like start
you build
with
up
that
to
card.
that for sure. But like it does feel like I would feel really uncomfortable.
Interesting. I also see it as like an opportunity of like, okay, first date, let's not waste any time. If I'm gonna like invest in this person, that means that they're intrinsically attached to this other person, which
That's
means
true.
that I'm not just dating him. I'm also technically, to some regard, this is a bundle, you know? And so it's like having that opportunity on the first time to like see if, you know, this is a person that I could deal with.
I get that. I guess like I just can imagine that their date was already so awkward, and then to add this other element and like maybe actually it's a bit of a saving grace, you know? Like it was so awkward. Oh, okay, let's bring someone in who knows him so we can like have a 3-party conversation, you know?
Yeah.
But I just think I hate one-on-one.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
like I hate dates. I hate dates. Except for like with my partner now. But anyways, it is nice that like you see that he clearly is like, this person's part of my life. Like I want you to know this person that's part of my life. But he's not doing that. And that's why I feel like Kristen leaves.
I think exactly. I think this is where it gets derailed. Is that like it could have had so much potential to be a beneficial situation, like you're saying, right? Like awkward first date, bring in a third person, also get to know this other person, realize that I'm also like, you know, in this pregnancy situation, I'm gonna have a kid soon, you know, like all these things, like kind of get it all smoothed out right off the bat. But I think what just ends up happening is that Ross and Carol get so involved in each other that they don't even notice when she gets up and leaves.
Yeah, which is awkward.
It's just so awkward. And in that case, yes, I hope that if I'm in that situation, I have the guts to get up and just walk out.
Yeah, Kristen is gutsy there.
Yeah.
Like just getting up and leaving. Like that's, But yeah, totally. Because at the same time, like, oh, this scene is just so heartbreaking. And he's like, maybe it's cold in there. Like, he's just like, he's hoping he didn't fuck this thing up. And then he did.
Right.
And he's just like, such a mess. And he's so sad and upset about it. And like, then he has this moment where he's like, can't we just like be together? Like, can't we just... And so, and I asked, and I think this is very, very telling, but one of the questions I asked in our polls was, have you ever wanted to get back together with an ex just because it's easier than moving on? And 100% of our audience said yes. So it's like, but it's exactly that. It's that feeling like he knows her. They've been together. They have photos together. They have things together. They have a kid coming together. Yeah. They have this whole life that they've built together, but they just can't be together. Yeah. And it's like whether it's because she's like a lesbian or whether it's for a different reason, like they just can't be together. And they both know that, and they both have so much love for each other and care for each other.
And you can see it in Carol as well, right? Like there is love there. And it's just so interesting because
and she says that they kiss, and she's like, "Oh, I love you too," and like she says it in like this really like heart-wrenching way.
And it's just like, it's just also interesting the way that they portray how like Ross is like super in love with Rachel at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it just kind of drives home that like
you can love in different ways.
Yeah, like but at the end of the day he would, no matter how long he's loved Rachel, like he would prioritize this relationship that he has first, because like there's love there, and that a relationship is not just an attraction to a person. A relationship is like a literal thing that you're building, and it's a connection you have, and it's the life you have together, and the connection you have with the people who are connected to your partner, and it's like this whole intertwined, like actual, almost like tangible thing. And to have, it's just, you can really feel that there between them, and it just like, again, drives home like why I love Ross so much in the first season.
And I think like, I think that really pulls into the idea of like what I was saying, where like sometimes it's like just better to be with an ex than be alone. And like I think that is like a little bit how Ross is feeling. Like he's got a whole bunch of mixed feelings. He's like, he clearly really loves Rachel and wants to be with Rachel, but he just like, he doesn't want to be alone, and he also wants to be with Carol, and he just like has these feelings of like, I had a plan. Like he had this plan, he had this setup going, and then like all of a sudden it's been derailed for something that's completely 100% out of his control. And it's like,
and he invested, and he did everything right, you know, like in quotations, right? Like he did everything right. Like he, and he, you can tell in this moment, I feel that you can just see how they could have been so good together when they were together. Yeah. You know, like that they had a great, strong dynamic. That obviously fizzled out at the end as Carol figured out parts of herself that like came, you know, between them and her and the relationship. But like,
but and this moment between them is just so pure. Like it's just so genuine, and it really makes you think of like familiarity and like comfort of people that you love, you know, and like, and not even in a romantic sense, like even just like having friendships that are comfortable, that like you've kind of fallen away from that person for whatever reason, just because of like, maybe you have different politics, maybe you have different like ethics, maybe you have different morals, but like you know, or maybe you like had to move across the country, but you have this like feeling of connectedness with someone, and you just like want to go back, like this kind of sense of like nostalgia, like bittersweet nostalgia. And I can just think of so many times in my life in which like where he has this moment where he's like looking at Carol and like, you know, but we could do this, like we could, you know, put a pin in the lesbian thing, like this is like
everything else about this was perfect,
you know? And like, and I think that like I've definitely had that feeling in my life before, where you're like, you know, this is perfect, we get along in so many ways, why isn't this working, you know? And it's just, it's a sad feeling. Sad feeling.
And you know, the show could have ended on this scene, but it didn't.
I know.
Instead, we swap back over to Monica's apartment and Rachel's apartment, and we see them all hanging out with the firefighters. They're gonna go on a date when they get off or whatnot.
Yeah, we forgot about the firefighters saying a boyfriend bonfire.
Yeah, boyfriend bonfire. Also in the
Valentine's Day is our busiest night of the year.
And then also in the DVD version, they straight up start giving them safety tips for the next time they do a boyfriend bonfire, which is so hilarious.
Oh man!
But then the show ends off with them. They make plans to have a date, and then the guys leave, and they're like, "Are you going to tell your wife about this?" No, I mean, my girlfriend doesn't know. She doesn't know about my girlfriend or whatever. You know, like
clearly implying that they like are being like adulterers or whatever the term is.
Hashtag all men.
Honestly, so obnoxious. And we also like missed that there's this moment right in the last scene where Ross and Carol are sitting together, in which like that woman walks by at the end,
right? And
like, first of all, you don't even get a shot of this woman's face. Like, you get kind of a side of her face, and you literally only get her backside,
right?
And like, and they just like, Ross just completely objectifies her in this like brief moment, and like they could have ended the scene so well, you
with
know?
Carol just being like on it,
yeah,
being, like,
Carol's like,
not her. I have in the past wondered if...
She's saying not her because she's gay?
Yes!
Yeah! I thought that too! Where she's like, no, that woman's clearly queer.
Yeah, and then that's why Ross is like, oh, really? Like...
That's... Yeah, I like to think of it that way too. Oh, man. But yeah, Ross does have some great facial expressions too here where he's like, ugh, and he just, like, it puts his head down on the table. Yeah. He's, like, upset. Oh, man.
Okay.
All right, that's it. Let's talk a quick moment about our plans for next week. So next week, our Netflix watch party is moving to Monday, like we already said. And also starting next week, we're going to have a giveaway campaign. So we are giving away 3 prizes. You can win a mug with the What the Phalange logo. Wow, we can look to you. We can look to you, dear camera. So we're giving away a mug with the What the Phalange logo. We're giving away a face mask. Is that what we're doing?
Oh yeah,
a face mask.
Because wear your mask, guys. The pandemic isn't over just because you're over it.
Yeah, we're giving away a face mask with a friend's quote on it. And then we're also giving away our stickers. So the grand prize is the mug, the second prize is the face mask, and the third prize is stickers. And the purpose of the campaign is that you're going to have to write a review on iTunes and then come into our onto the post, tag a friend, and say, you should watch this you should listen to this podcast because and then fill in the sentence. And you can tag as many friends as you want as long as you have at least one review. Well, you can only have one review on iTunes. So as long as you have a review on iTunes, you are eligible
to enter as many times as you can. And every person that you tag filling in that sentence is an entry into the contest.
Yeah. And we'll probably run the contest for about a week and then we'll announce the prizes.
Like 2 weeks.
Maybe. We'll see. Oh, yeah. You also have to follow us on Facebook.
Yeah, you have to be following us on Instagram in order to be
eligible for the campaign. Yeah. All right. Anyways, all that to say, great. So follow us on Instagram now at WT Phalange Podcast. Subscribe to our page on YouTube, What the Phalange Podcast on YouTube. And you can like us on Facebook as well.
Yep.
And then you can find me on my own individual page, emilybyoga.com, or on my Instagram at emilybyoga. You can also find me on YouTube at emilybyoga, and we will link it here.
You can find me at quinnkbrunet.com as well as quinnkbrunet for an Instagram handle. And you can also find links to all of our profiles through whatever medium that you are listening to us right now. Just look in the show notes.
Yeah. So we'll see you next time.
Keep deconstructing and diversifying the media you consume.